Hello students, welcome to APJ Science Academy. We are endowing Gnanadhar APU College and this is the first session of your physics bridge course. See, normally when you jump from 10th to 1st PU, particularly to the science stream, there you are going to have physics, chemistry, maths and bio or computer science as 4 different subjects here, right? So what should be the difference in approaching the subject? Okay, see, the bridge course is always something which should connect to the unknown factors, to the unknown approaches. So factors means something which is there in the book, which we all will discuss, and you will learn all those facts and figures from the book in the class itself. So that I don't need to teach here in the bridge course. Facts and figures, those are already available in the internet and you can get it from NCERT books from 11th. That's all fine, those are all fine. But how you should be looking into the subject, okay, the approach towards the subject is what going to decide your conceptual understanding. Okay, so in the bridge course we'll be approaching the subject, particularly in my subject physics, we'll be approaching physics through experiments, through demonstrations, where we will learn everything practically. Okay, so obviously I won't be giving you the difficult experiments here. We'll be taking simple experiments, simple concepts, and understand the approach towards the subject. Clear on that? So we'll be on approach of subject. Okay, so right now what I have here, the device, these two are the same devices, okay, is a simple device, okay, which is called simple pendulum. And this simple pendulum has basically 3 parts. One is this, which is called bob of the pendulum. Generally, bob of the pendulum is spherical in shape. But here I have chosen weights instead of bob for a particular reason. I want to show the dependence of some factor on the weight or mass of the object hung here. Okay, normally the bob is a spherical shaped one which look like this, but I have chosen this weight hanger particularly for a reason which you will get to know now. This is bob of the pendulum and this is the thread of the pendulum. Okay, and this is the firm support for the pendulum. That's it. It's a simple pendulum where you will have a support like this, or even you can hang it to a nail in the wall. Okay, that's fine. And a thread, finally a bob in the bottom. That's it. That is a simple pendulum. Now, as you can see, if I displace or move the bob of the pendulum for a certain distance and leave, it starts to move back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This kind of back and forth motion of any object is considered to be oscillations. Okay, so this is undergoing oscillation now. Clear on that? This kind of back and forth motion itself is called oscillation, and so this pendulum is now undergoing oscillation. Okay, now the time. Okay, here is a factor which is very important for our discussion now. Okay, now you can observe it takes certain time to complete one back and forth motion. Okay, or I can say one complete oscillation. See, if the oscillation starts from this point, the time taken to reach the same point back again, okay, the time taken to reach the same point back again is considered to be the time period of the oscillation. Clear on that? For one oscillation or for one complete motion, it starts from this point, I leave this, comes back, so I will measure the time, and that time is considered to be the time period of this simple pendulum. Now we will derive the formula for this time period of the simple pendulum here when we come to the actual syllabus. Okay, but here I'll directly take the formula of the time period of oscillation. Okay, the time period of oscillation is given by T is equal to 2 pi pi is a constant, you know that, root of L by G. Okay, this is the formula which we will discuss, understand and derive in the regular class. Okay, this is a concept which is there for you in your 11th or first PU. Okay, now look at this. So according to this formula, time period is dependent on different factors. 2 pi is a constant, okay, that remains same, which will not change. So this L and G decides what is the time period of the oscillation. But when we think of it in common terms, okay, just think for yourself, what are the factors on which the time period of oscillation might be dependent on? Might be, okay, different factors. One of the factors that I am getting into mind is length of the thread. Okay, so that is one factor that I think the time period or how fast the oscillation is occurring, how slow the oscillation is occurring, okay, that might be depending on is length of the thread. Okay, and the other factor that I think the time period might be dependent on is the mass of the hung object, okay, or mass of the bob. Okay, so the other factor that I think might be, because I think if I increase the mass of the object, the time period might increase or decrease, I don't know, but it might be dependent, right? How to increase the mass? I have few, since it's a right hanger, see, I can remove certain mass here, I can remove little more mass, and I can also add at the same time. So I think mass of the hung object or mass of the bob, this is a bob for now, so mass of the bob might also affect, I think so, okay, might also affect the time period of oscillation. Time period you understood, no? It's the time taken to complete one oscillation, okay, or one back and forth motion. I'll just leave it from here, goes there, comes back. Okay, this is one oscillation. Time taken, okay, time taken for this one oscillation is time period of this pendulum. Okay, so now look at this. These are the factors I think the factors might be affecting the time period. Now let me check one by one. Coming to the first part, length of the thread. Now we shall see whether the length of the thread affects the time period of the oscillation or not. Okay, let us, since we have two simple pendulums here, I can have simple pendulum to both the simple pendulums with the same length first, and we'll see whether it is oscillating with the same time period. Okay, so and I also would like to keep the mass same. Okay, so I'll just remove them to keep the mass same. Okay, so now you have same mass, right? And let me make the height or the length of the pendulum same. Okay, so here we have two simple pendulums of almost same length, okay, almost same length, or else I can take the scale and measure you to give you the perfect length itself. Okay, so this is 48 centimeter here, and this is also 48. Okay, so they are of same length. Okay, now let us begin the oscillation. Okay, right, observe here, look at them, they are oscillating with the same time period, they are in synchronization, right? Look at them, they're going, coming back, going and coming back at the same time, isn't it? So now the length is same and mass is same, so the time period is same. Clear? Clear on that? Length of both the pendulums are same mass of both the pendulums are also same. So the time period is also same. Time period is they are taking same time, isn't it? You can observe here. Okay. See, they came back at same time, right? Okay. So time period is same when I have the same length and same mass. Okay. Now the first factor to change will be length. Let me change the length of one of the pendulum. Okay. Let me change the length of this pendulum. Let me decrease the length. Okay. So now I have decreased the length of one pendulum. And now we'll see whether the oscillations becomes faster or slower with the pendulum of shorter length. Okay. This is this is a very important observation you should make. Because if now the oscillation becomes faster with this, then time period has decreased for this, isn't it? If it becomes faster, then the time period will decrease, isn't it? See, because it can cover one oscillation in small time, because it is oscillating faster. So now we'll see. Okay. Okay, I'll just replace it and leave. Now observe carefully. Look at this. This pendulum of lengthier thread is oscillating slowly, isn't it? Which means time period for this is more. It is taking more time for one oscillation. Clear? Now come to this. Look at this. This is taking very less time, right? This is oscillating faster compared to that, isn't it? So when this oscillates faster to that pendulum, which means that this pendulum of shorter length has less time period. Getting? Because it is oscillating faster. So it completes one oscillation in lesser time compared to the other pendulum. Clear on that? So now you can observe together. Okay, I'll just start the oscillation. You can observe which one completes the oscillation first. Okay, you can observe here. This pendulum to my left, in my left hand, completes the oscillation first, and the other pendulum completes the oscillation later. Okay, clear? You can easily observe that. Okay, so now what do we conclude from this? We conclude this one as, so the time period of the oscillation, or time taken for one oscillation, which itself is time period of oscillation. Time period of oscillation is dependent. Yes, it is dependent on length. Yes. Okay. So is it dependent on length? Yes, it is dependent on length of the thread. Clear? Now we shall check for the second factor. It can also be dependent on mass of the bob, right? If I increase the mass, the time period might decrease. I don't know whether it decrease, increase, or remains the same. But we can check it practically now. Okay. So let me check it practically. Now I'll be stretching the wire for the same length. So the thread is stretched now for the same length. It's 50, no, 40, 53, 54 here. I think I need to increase the length here by a bit. Yeah, fine. 54, 54. Okay. So now once again we have two same simple pendulums. What does the same means? Same length, same mass of bob. Now the factor that I should change is the mass of the bob, right? Because we have checked for the length, whether the time period is dependent on length. Yes, it is dependent, and we saw. Now we will see for the dependence of mass on time period or dependence of time period on mass of the pendulum. So now let me change the mass. Let that mass remain the same. Okay, it's only one weight hanging there, but for this I'll add two more weights. Okay, so now observe carefully, mass of this pendulum is more than mass of that pendulum, isn't it? So now mass is different, length is same. Okay, mass is different for the pendulums. Now let us see whether we get same time period or a different time period. Okay, we'll observe carefully whether they oscillate together or in a different time periods. Observe carefully, they are oscillating together. They are going moving forward, backward, they are moving together. Even though I have changed the mass of one pendulum, the time period of both of them is same. They are oscillating together. See, they are not, one of them is not faster than the other. They are together in oscillation, and we can verify even with single oscillation. Okay. Okay, just a minute. I don't want that to be stuck. Okay, just a minute. Okay. Now, yeah, observe carefully. What we need is time taken for one oscillation. We just want to check whether they take same time or different times for one oscillation. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Together they went, together they came back. Okay, once again, 3, 2, 1, go. Together they went, together they came back. Okay, so, and you can observe when they oscillate, it's always the same oscillation happening there and here, which means the time period of the oscillation, which is the time taken for one oscillation, time period of oscillation is independent of mass. It is not dependent on mass. So that is what the experiment shows. That is what the experiment proves. So mass of the bob is independent. Okay, it is independent, which means it's not dependent for the time period, or I can say time period of the oscillation is dependent on length of the thread and it is independent of mass of the bob. Okay, this is what we saw experimentally, right? We saw it, it's in front of our eyes. But what does the theory say? The theory says that the time period formula is T is equal to 2 pi root of L by G. Okay, this is a theoretical formula. This formula can be derived without actually conducting the experiment. Okay, but now we shall see whether the theory and the experiment match with each other or not. Okay, first look at this. Do you have a factor of length in the formula? Yes, we do, right? We have time period depending on length. So yes, time period is proportional to square root of L. Yes, the time period is dependent on length, isn't it? Because we have it in formula. I change the value of L here in the formula, I'll get different T. Now, what do we get from the experiment? From the experiment, we could observe that yes, the time period is dependent on length. Yes, it is dependent, isn't it? Now, do we have any factor of mass in the RHS of the formula? Do we have mass factor here? No, we don't have any mass factor or term m in the RHS of the equation, which means that T is not dependent on mass of the bob. So that is what both the theory and the practicals conclude. Okay, so this is a simple experiment. I have not gone to any mathematical solutions till now, but the factor that you should be observing here or grasping here is that whatever we see theoretically, Okay, this is a theoretical formula, isn't it? Nothing else. Whatever we see theoretically can be seen experimentally. It can be performed practically in the laboratory. And this is a simple formula, this is a simple experiment which even you can do in your home, isn't it? So that is what I wanted to show. Okay, a formula is always alive, it is not dead. When do we call a formula it is dead? We call it dead when it cannot be seen practically outside. But when it comes to physics, unlike math, okay, because in math many other times you can't do the experiment to check it practically, okay, when it comes to complex maths and all. But when you take physics, you always can perform the experiment practically in the lab, and hence you can verify or you can actually look into the equation. Yes, it is true. Yes, practically whatever the equation we have is valid. You can verify it. Okay, clear on that? So I just wanted to give you, this is a simple formula from simple experiment, right? But the thing that you should be concerned about is how to approach, how to look into the formula, okay? Because this formula is alive. Okay, what do you mean by alive? You can check it whether it is true or not in the lab. Okay, good. Now we shall continue with the practical, with the quantitative analysis. What is quantitative and qualitative? So far what we did is qualitative, which means we did not went into the actual values. So and so centimeter, so and so time, so and so g value. No, we did not go into it. Okay, that is qualitative. What do you mean by quantitative? When it comes to quantitative analysis, we are going to include numerical values into the formula and check. Okay, so before going to the quantitative analysis, I just want to give you the value of g. What is this g? G is the time period of oscillation. Okay, okay, G is the acceleration due to gravity value. Okay, so G is equal to, it's 9.8 meter per second squared, but you can round it off and take closely equal to 10 meter per second squared. Okay, but the actual value is 9.8 meter per second squared, G, acceleration due to gravity. So now T is dependent on only two factors. One is length of the pendulum and acceleration due to gravity. Since we are on earth and not accelerating vertically, this G will not change. It's 10 meter per second square here, it's 10 meter per second square somewhere in your home, it's fixed. Okay, so G is fixed, 10 meter per second square. The only factor that I can change is length. So for a particular length, we shall see whether the time taken is agreeing with the value or not. Okay, right. So let me take the length first of certain value from here. Okay, so the length of the pendulum that I have now from this, reduce it a bit. Is 50 centimeter now. Okay, keeping it in meters. Okay, so length I have chosen 0.5 meter. Okay, and G is 10 meter per second square. 2 pi, the value of 2 pi is, value of pi is 22/7, you all know that, right? And 2 pi is close to 3.14. 2 pi together, you can make use of calculator for now, nothing to worry. Together makes it 6.28. Okay, and now we'll check for the time period. We have a stopwatch with us. Okay, and one more thing, we won't be checking for one oscillation because it's very difficult for us to get the time of one oscillation. instead what we'll do is we'll take the time for 10 oscillations and divide it by 10. Clear on that? Time for 10 oscillations divided by 10, that will give me the time period of one oscillation. Why so? Because getting time period of one oscillation is difficult, right? It's a matter of accuracy. Okay, so let me start the oscillation. Okay, it's 0 0. You can see. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So the time taken, as you can see, is 13 seconds, 13.97 seconds. Okay. So now 13.97 is close to 14 seconds. Okay. So time taken is 14 seconds, but what we need is time period. Okay, this is for 10 oscillations. For one oscillation, as I say, total time taken for 10 oscillations divided by 10, isn't it? Basic math. So it is 14 by 10, which is equal to 1.4. So time period of the oscillation is 1.4 seconds. So now you have T value, L value, G value and 2 pi value. It is just about the calculation part, right? Let us go for the calculation and verify. So this is the quantitative analysis that we are doing, right? Let me do it here. So T, I should get LHS is equal to RHS. What is T? Time period that we found is 1.4 is equal to 2 pi is 6.28 under root of L is 0.5 meter divided by G is 10. Okay. Make use of calculator and simplify this. So now we have the calculation done here. In the LHS we have 1.4, 0.5 by 10 is 0.05, root of 0.05 is 0.2236. You can do it with the calculator. 0.2236 into 6.828 will give you 1.404, which is nearly equal to 1.4. So I can now confidently say that the formula that I have is a perfectly valid formula, isn't it? Because what we got from the experiment and what we got from the theoretical solution are one and the same. Clear on that? Good. So dear students, now we shall solve a problem based on what we just learned. Not a simple problem, don't think so. It is a question which is asked in CBSE PMT, paramedical test, and DPMT, which are the competitives in Delhi. It's Delhi PMT, okay, paramedical test, and CBSE PMT, which are the competitive tests which are almost of similar level of Karnataka CET. Okay, so now you are going to look into a question from Karnataka CET, a similar level of question. Okay, the question is as follows: the time period of a simple pendulum is 2 seconds. What is given? Time period of the pendulum is given. How much? 2 seconds. Okay. Then if its length is increased by 4 times, okay, if the length of the pendulum is increased by 4 times, which means we have two situations given here. In the first situation, the time period is 2 seconds and we have some length L. We don't know what is the length, but we have some length L. But in the second situation, we need to find the new time period, which I will call as T2 here. New, because two situations. First situation, 2 second time, L is the length. Second situation, time period has to be found and the length becomes 4 times. Okay, let me call the length of the first situation as L1, time period of first situation as T1, and time period of second situation has to be calculated, right, 4 times. Then its period becomes, which means the time period in the second situation has to be calculated. What is given? Length of the second situation is 4 times the length of the first situation, right? L2 is equal to 4 times L1. Okay. Now, if I write, let me write the formula for the time period. For the time period of formula, it is T is equal to 2 pi root of L by G, right? Since I am writing everything for first situation, okay, you can directly go for proportionality if you have the idea, or you can write the formula for both the situations. Since this is first situation, I will write T1 and L1 here, because G and 2 pi are constants, they do not change. Okay. Now, in the same way, I can write T2 is equal to 2 pi under root of L by G, right, for both the situations. Let me call this as equation 1 and this as equation 2. Now, dividing equation 1 by 2, okay, equation 1 by equation 2, what do we get in the LHS? We get T1 by T2, right? And in the RHS, you can observe here, okay, let me write it once quicker, okay. If you get fluent with the math, you can do it directly without writing all these things. L1 by G, 2 pi into root of L2 by G, because this is what is T2 equal to and this is what is T1 equal to. Now look, 2 pi, same factors, cancels. Root G, same factors, cancels. What you are left with? It is only T1 by T2 is equal to root of L1 by L2, right? Very simple. Now, what we need is T2. We have T1, L1 and L2 given. What is L2? L2 is 4L1, okay? So, I can write it as L1 by 4L1. Once again, L1 and L1 cancels. I'll be left only with root of 1 by 4. What is root of 1 by 4? Root of 1 by 4 is 1 by 2, right? So, T1 by T2 is equal to 1 by 2. What I need is T2. I have the value of T1 given by 2 seconds. So, what I have is T1 by T2 is equal to 1 by 2 and T1 is, what is T1 given? T1 is 2 seconds, right? It is 2 seconds. So, T2 goes here, cross multiplication, 2 comes here, okay. So, T2 is equal to 4 seconds. That's it. So, which is the right option? 4 seconds. Option D is the right answer. Clear? Very easy. All you need to understand is the formula and the practical approach towards the formula. Then little math, very little math, and do the simplification properly, you will get the answer. Okay. So, the time period of the second situation is found, which is 4 seconds. Okay. Remember again, this is a question which is of same difficulty from Karnataka CET. Okay. This is asked in the previous years of CBSE PMT and Delhi PMT. Okay. Good. So, this is the next question which is asked in AIIMS, a very prestigious entrance, very difficult and at the same time very at the high level competitive exam, All India Institute of Medical Science. Again, see, when you take this kind of competitive exams, not all the questions will be difficult. You can have even simple questions like this asked in the previous year of AIIMS. Okay. Look into the question. I think you should be able to answer this question by yourself, because it is such a simple question which can be completely answered only through the practical experience that you saw now. Okay. Let me go through the question. If the metal bob of a simple pendulum is replaced by a wooden bob, then its time period will, options are as follows: A, increase; B, decrease; C, remain same; D, first increase then decrease. Think of it. What are the factors on which the time period depend on? Time period depends on L, length of the pendulum, right, and G, acceleration due to gravity. what is the factor that will change when you change the metal bob from a wooden bob? Okay, you are not changing the length, you are not changing the value of g, it is only the value of mass of the object changed there, isn't it? When you have metal bob, you will have more mass. When you have wooden bob, you will have less mass. That's the only difference. Now think of it. What should happen to the time period of the pendulum when you replace metal bob by wooden bob? Think of it, and if you can, do the experiment by first putting an eraser for the pendulum, and then you design the pendulum and you just attach the sharpener, because eraser comparatively has more mass, right? Sharpener has less mass. And do the experiment by yourself. Don't change any other factor like length. Don't change the length. Just first put the eraser, then put the sharpener, and see the time taken for 10 oscillations, then divide it by 10. Time period should be, you decide what should happen to the time period, whether it is whether it should increase or decrease or remains the same or increase and decrease. Okay, this is left on you. Thank you.